So today we are going to be taking a quick look at the animated eyeball rig that we created in the CG Cookie tutorial course. This is just a quick sort of addendum to that. This is just a little follow-up showing you how to duplicate and scale and, generally parent this to a master rig sort of thing. So it's all just admin, really. So what we're going to do I'm just working off the Perfect Eyes final.blend file that comes with the course, and I'm just going to take the light and camera and I'm going to move them to a different layer. I'm going to select all, and I'm going to change the outliner to visible layers. So we're looking in the outliner, it only includes stuff that you can actually see in the viewport. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to roll these little fellas down here, and as you can see there's some stuff which is not visible and not selectable. So if I were to hit M and move this stuff to another layer, we'd still leave some stuff behind. So I'm going to hit Control Z so that we're all still back on the first layer again, and then I'm just going to make these visible and I'm going to make these selectable, and I'm going to hit A to select all, and I'm going to hit M and move it over to this layer. I'm going to hit C to move the cursor to the center of the scene. I'm going to go to layer 2. I'm going to hit G and X and just move everything over ever so slightly. Then I'm going to hit Shift D to duplicate everything, and then I'm going to hit X, and that's constrained it to the X-axis, so I can just drag it over to the left, or to because this is going to be our right eye, so obviously to its right, to our left. And then I'm going to hit M and I'm going to move this to its own layer. So we've got right eye, left eye. As you can see, the left eye still has all our naming conventions intact. L denoting that it is left eye, and then the name of the object and no numbers after it. Unfortunately, if we look at our right eye, it still says L, so it still thinks it's left eye, and then it's added, because it's a duplicate name, it's added .001 to everything. Now, if I were feeling a little more myself today, I'd come up with a clever way of bulk renaming these things, but I am not feeling very well and I cannot think straight, so I'm just going to go in manually and rename everything by changing the L to an R and then deleting the suffix numbers, or the numbers at the end. I hope that is clear. It takes a little bit of time, but obviously, organization is very important when you're rigging characters and so on. So it's good that we get this right. Oh, I feel so unwell. Cool. I'm just going to save this now. So now we have a right and a left eye. And if I hit Shift C again, just to make sure that our cursor's in the our 3D cursor's in the center, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually create an armature single bone. Now, I'm assuming you already have a character armature, and bone. We're going to call this bone, and you want to create this bone inside of your armature, and we'll call it Eyemaster. Okay. So now we've got our Eyemasterbone within our armature. Now, actually, I'm going to also, whilst I'm here, I'm going to create 2 more bones. Just duplicate this one. We'll pretend this one is, so this is the existing head bone in your armature. And if you have any existing eye controls, then this will be Eye Control Master. Okay, so I'll clarify what those bones are for in a little while, but for now what we're going to do is we're going to take our eye we're going to select the left eye center, and we're going to select the right eye center by shift clicking it, and then we're going to shift click in the viewport our armature, Control P bone, and I think it's parented to wrong bone, so we'll undo that. We'll go back, pose mode, we'll select our Eyemasterbone in pose mode, then we'll tab back out to object mode, select left eye center, right eye center, shift click the armature, control P to bone. There you go. Now they've actually parented to this Eyemasterbone. Okay. So then we're going to select the eye centers again, and we're just going to move them back to where they should have been, because they've displaced slightly. That's not a big deal. We don't have to worry about that, I don't think. And then I'm going to take the left eye lattice, right eye lattice. Yoink. It's not selecting them properly. There we go. And we are just going to, again, we're going to select the armature, control P, parent to bone. So now, if we go into pose mode, and we move this around, you can see this is nicely parented. It's all parented nicely to that. And then we can control P, sorry, shift select, and then control P, this bone to that bone. So now if we move the head, total failure. Okay, we'll go to the bone panel, and in edit mode, of course we have to do that in edit modes. Told you I wasn't feeling well. Parent, and we're just going to choose the head bone. And now if we go back into pose mode, so we've got our eye centers parented and our lattices parented to the Eyemaster, and the Eyemaster parented to the head. Okay, so our head, when our head moves, our eyes move along with it. But assuming that the scale of your character is all wrong and out of whack to your eyes, what we can do is actually scale down this Eyemasterbone to wherever we need it to be. Now I'm going to assume, despite this massive head bone, that our eyes want to be quite small, because that's the most extreme situation, is that they're going to be very, very tiny. And as you can see, we get this very unfavourable distortion going on. So how do we fix that? Well, what we need to do is we need to select our eye focus and our other eye focus. And we'll actually just pull these there. We need to select them, and we want to go to our object constraint and just turn down the limit scale. Or turn off the visibility of the limit scale, so it's no longer affecting them. And what we can do is we can scale these down until our eyes begin to look normal again. In fact, I'm just going to use this other viewport to get a rendered view. And actually, as you can see, because we made certain things visible earlier, the mesh depth and structure we're going to make invisible, and then we'll turn off the selectability for the eye, cornea, mesh depth and structure, and we'll do that on both eyes. God, it's really hard to concentrate. Sorry. And we'll just scale these fellas down until they look roughly comfortable. And what you'll want to do is make sure that they are both equal, I would imagine. That's what you'd want to do. If you want wonky eyes, you can have wonky eyes. That's fine. Who am I to judge? So then if we look at our transforms, we've got this at about 0.2. So I'm going to say that our limit scale, we need... Right. What we're going to do now is just customize our limit scale to how we've scaled our eyes down. Now, depending on how big your model and armature is, this is going to vary user to user. So each of you are going to have different numbers in these boxes to figure that out. So you're going to have to figure that out for yourself. In the case that I've done here, I mean, I've scaled it down. That's a good medium point. I'm going to say that 0.1 is going to be my minimum, and 0.35 is going to be my maximum. And then I'm just going to copy these values over to the other boxes, and I'm going to turn our limit scale back on. Then I'm going to scale this up, and I think we can probably go for a slightly bigger maximum, actually. 0.5 maybe? 0.5, great. Scale that up. Now that's definitely your maximum size, and I think that's a comfortable minimum. We're not going to need anything outside of that. So that's the limit scale set, actually, and the scale of... sorry, rambling terribly. So I'm just going to then do exactly the same over here and turn that back on. So now we have two eyes doing exactly what eyes are supposed to do. And whilst I'm here, I'm going to select both of them, and then I'm going to... Oh, actually, no, I'm not. In pose mode, I'll make sure that my eye control master is selected. And I'll come back out to object mode and select both the focus controls. Shift select the armature, Control P, bone, and great. Unfortunately, they have sort of shifted, so I'm just going to select them again and move them back to approximately where they should be, which is in line with this bone. And now, oh dear. And now, if you were in pose mode, we can actually just go and move all our eyes around and still have independent control of each one. Okay, so that's good. I'm just going to sneeze a second. Or not. It's coming. Any day now. Oh, God. Excuse me. Right, so what else remains to be done? Well, we haven't got any highlights anymore, and I don't know why. Actually, I do know why. I'm just being coy. So I'm just going to select these highlights, and I'm going to move them until they sit somewhere close to the center. And then I'm just going to hit S, and I'm going to scale them. Oh, actually, I'm going to come to here and make sure we've got individual origins on, and then scale them, so they'll scale in place. Scale them down until they're a comfortable sort of size. And now we've got one last crucial thing to do. Our rig, whilst it's all working quite nicely, the controls are now totally disproportionate to the actual model. So these controls, you don't want to be scaling the empties down, because I believe, as I said, it's been a while since I last used this rig. These empties, certain drivers depend on each one's scale. So just to be safe, what we're going to do is come over to the empties properties, and we're going to go to its data properties, and under where it says display, excuse me, there's a slider for size, and we can do this and affect it without actually affecting its actual scale property. So therefore we can change the look of stuff. Excuse me, damn you Microsoft and your in Windows adverts. Oh yeah, we could just scale these down until they're of a more comfortable or more pleasing size. You know, use your own judgment here. I don't think we want that one particularly big, so make it teeny tiny. And yeah, great. So now, essentially, and obviously I'm assuming your rig will already be set up to be to display in a pleasing fashion, but I'm going to just make sure that this is whatever. And obviously you can make custom bone shapes for these controls and whatnot, but now what we've got is a head that can move, and the eyes will move with it, and hopefully rotate, and the eyes will move with it. And then when you find, you know, if you decide that you need to readjust your eye's position or scale without affecting the main head bone, you can do that very easily by using your Eyemaster here. And obviously we've got a control to look around with. So that's it. I hope that answers any of your questions. I do apologise for the oversight, pun intended. So yeah, I do apologise for the oversight of not having included this in the original tutorial series. I mean, I suppose my focus was more on the theory of how to create a flexible rig rather than the application to a character. Still, I should have seen that people were going to want to know this stuff. And I was sorry that it's taken me so long to get this video out. We've been incredibly busy, and obviously CG Cookie aren't able to host this video, so they asked me to put this on my site if I had time to do it. So apologies for all of that, and you know, for generally existing. I hope this does help. If not, then you can contact me through the CG Cookie site or through the emails on my website. Coolio. I hope, again, I hope that made sense. I'm so well I can't think straight. For all I know, I mean, this was all a hallucination anyway. So yeah, I've been Chris McFall for United Filmdom. Peace out.